brews and reviews.
Hey, this is Homer here from PA Loggers, Brews and Reviews. We have a special episode for you today. We're going to look at two Penn Brewery Pilsners. Now, Penn Brewery is in Pittsburgh. They've been making beer since 1986. And you may see them in the area at Wegmans and especially seasonal brews like Oktoberfest and Pumpkin Roll Ale and St. Nicholas Bock and things like that. But they also have nice Pilsners and lagers. They're a great lager brewery from Pittsburgh, PA. They only brew in bottles right now, but they just changed ownership, so they may be coming out in cans soon. But very traditional German lager brews from them. And what's a little confusing is they have a Penn Pilsner and they have a Penn Kaiser Pils. Now, the Penn Pilsner, you might see around a little bit more. You might see this in a Wegmans. That's where I got this from. And actually, Penn products weren't on shelves in Wegmans for a couple months, not even the Oktoberfest yet. So I saw Penn Pilsner there, and I thought I'd pick it up because I haven't had it maybe in a year or so. Kaiser Pils, I picked up in Pittsburgh last March when I was there, and I actually messaged Buddy's Brews on Carson on the south side in Pittsburgh, and they picked up a case for me of the Kaiser Pils. And that way I knew I was getting it fresh because I've had this before and it hasn't been always fresh. I got it in a mix of 6 at Wegmans and it tasted a little skunky. And sometimes that'll happen at places like Wegmans, or when they have mix of 6s, they'll put the old stuff there so to get rid of it. So you think you're getting a deal and you're trying different things, but sometimes you're not getting a good example of what the beer is if you're getting an old one. So this is a fresh one. And I'm not sure if this is fresh or not. This got put on the shelf. Now, it could be an old 6-pack put on the shelf. I'm not saying they put old 6-packs on the shelf, but there's no date on it like there is on cans. So I don't know if this is fresh or not. I only know that I saw the 6-pack there and it hasn't been there for a while. So hopefully it's fresh. So we're going to try these out from Penn Brewery. Now, the Penn Pilsner is listed on their website as a Vienna lager. Now, it doesn't taste like a Vienna lager. I assume it has Vienna malts in it, but Vienna lagers typically have a little more roasty, caramel, toffee kind of taste to them on the palate. They're a little more amber in color, and this is a little more amber in color, but its taste is pretty kind of average lager taste, to be honest. And I'm not sure why they call it Pilsner if it's a Vienna lager. Now, the Kaiser Pils is a German Pils, Northern German Pils, I should say, and it has a nice spicy bite to it. I really like it, but again, if you don't get it fresh, it may taste a little skunky and a little sulfur-like. I've kept this in my basement for the past 6 months, and I've gotten them out whenever I got a craving for a German Pils, like a Sly Fox. Pikeland Pils is another similar German Pils, and they've stayed pretty fresh, and it's one of my favorite Pils. And they're not really ranked really high on Untapped or anything like that. People just say, it's a Pils or whatever, but I really like this. I think it's a nice example of a German Pils, and if you get the chance to pick it up and keep it in your basement and get it fresh from somewhere. Make sure you get it fresh. Talk to your beer distributor, whatever. See if you can get a case in. So let's try these out. I'm going to pop these open. Okay, I managed to pop them open without a problem. So I'm going to pour them. This is the Penn Pilsner. And I'll move this forward. I'll put the bottle back. Put the bottle over here. And I'll pour this one. This is the Kaiser Pils, the Northern German Pils. And I'm getting a little less head with this. So I'm going to tilt it straight up to get a little more foam. Now this dissipated very quickly. And this one's hanging around a little bit as far as the foam. You can see the color difference. This is a little more amber in color. This is a little more gold in color. And in terms of aroma, I'm getting a nice beer aroma. Typical almost lager kind of taste. It almost smells like a macro lager. It doesn't, a little breadiness I'm getting, a little crackerness to it, but not a whole lot of aroma. A little more sour, yeasty kind of smell, but very faint. This one, I'm definitely getting a little more aroma from it, a little more bready, crackery, similar, but a little spice to it, a little peppery spice I'm getting even in the aroma. And that's probably what I'm going to get in the taste. So let me try this one first since the head's almost gone. So I'm going to taste this. And it's very refreshing, very nice. Has a little bit of malt to it. So I was saying it doesn't taste like a lot. There's a little bit of malt to it. When you taste this first, you're getting a little more of the flavor. And it's a nice Pils. It's not overwhelming with flavor. It's not like a typical Vienna lager that you might have from Von Trapp, or even an amber lager that you might have from Elliot Ness, or even Yingling lager. It's not quite as caramely or toffee, but there is a little hint of it. It's a nice Pilsner. Maybe that's why they call it a Pilsner, because it's not a big, bold lager kind of taste. Not that lagers are really bold, but it has a nice flavor to it. It's nice and drinkable. It's something you could drink in the summer, any time of year. And it's kind of middle of the road. I wouldn't say it's overwhelming in flavor, but it's a really nice Pilsner. It's not light like a Bohemian Pilsner or a German Pilsner, but it's not as strong as a Vienna lager as it's mentioned. But it's nice. It's a nice beer. Now let's try this. This definitely has a little more spicy bite right on the tongue when you first have it. And on the palate, there's a little spice to it, and that's what a German Pils should taste like. A little bit of a hop kick to it. Some people don't like it because of the hop kick. They prefer a more milder kind of beer like this, but I prefer this. I think this has a nice bite to it. Not too much. It's not hop, like a hoppy beer where you have a lot of real peppery spices or citrusy spices, anything like that. Just a nice kind of grainy spice to it, which I think is nice. It gives it a nice flavor. There's still some breadiness to it. They both have some breadiness to them, but they're both very nice on their own, but they're different. This is a nice summer Pils, I think, when you want a little hop kick to it. This is a everyday drinking kind of beer. You could probably give this to anyone if someone's used to drinking Buds and Rolling Rocks and stuff like that. You could probably give them this and they'll like it. Because it's not, there's not any overwhelming flavors to it, but it lacks some personality, I guess, from that point. I think that's why I gave this like a 3.75 on Tapped, because it's not really remarkable, but it's a really nice beer. I don't think that's a bad rating, and it's a beer I will pick up every now and then. I just won't get a lot of it. This one, I will pick up a case. I think this is kind of a special beer to have, and it's a really nice German Pils. There's a lot of great Pils out there. Now, again, what is a German Pils compared to a Czech Pils or a Bohemian Pils? And I usually find it a little more peppery, a little more grainy, whereas a Bohemian Pils sometimes can be a little more floral, a little more yeasty, a little more bready, sometimes even a little more citrusy, a little more sweeter. These have a little more bite to them, and they're sometimes plainer. German beers are plainer. They only have the, 4 main ingredients, so they're plain. And again, Penn Brewery is a traditional German brewery. Let me put this here so you can kind of see the bottle again. Let me put this here so you can see the bottle again without dropping those. I have these sitting on a Bavarian beer tray just to lift them up a little bit, but I'll try not to clank them around too much. But 2 very good Pilsners from Penn Brewery. The Penn Pilsner, which is more of an everyday beer, even though they say it's a Vienna lager, it's light like a Pilsner as well. And this is kind of a special Pils. I think it has a little hop kick to it. It's a nice Pils to have. Not everybody's going to like this. If you give this to your typical Bud drinker, they're not going to like it. They might find it a little off-putting. This would go down really nice. So I just wanted to point these out from Penn Brewery. They're just under new ownership as of August, and you might see beers coming out in cans. You may see some changes in their lineup, because I think they may need some changes. I only say that because they have a Penn Gold, which is their Munich Helles, and you don't see it around very much, and I've had it, and it's all right. But the Oktoberfest is the one that I really love. I'd love to see that year-round, and I'd love to see kind of some of the confusion of the name. I don't know if it's a Vienna lager, why call it Penn Pilsner? But again, that's not for me to decide. I just check out the beers, but I definitely give the Kaiser Pils a 4 or a 4.25. I'm kind of more favorable to the Kaiser Pils. Not everybody will like this, but I think it's a really nice German Pils. So if you get a chance to check it out, ask your beer distributor. Say, hey, can you get me Penn Brewery Kaiser Pils? Get me a case of it and make sure it's fresh. And try it out. And if your beer distributor won't do that, try another beer distributor. There's a lot of beer places out there that'll get beer for you from their wholesaler if they can. So if you see other Penn stuff, see if you could get Kaiser Pils. It might take a little longer, but it's worth it. And Penn Pilsner, you may see at Wegmans or somewhere like that. And if you can get it fresh, if you're ever out near Pittsburgh or that way, pick it up. So I really like Penn Brewery. I like their beers. They're very traditional German beers. They're not real flashy, but they do have seasonal beers, which are really great too. So if you pick up their Oktoberfest, their Pumpkin Roll Ale, Nut Roll Ale, St. Nicholas Bock, they make a lot of nice seasonals as well. I really like Penn Brewery. I like the way they do beers. They're somewhat old-fashioned. They're still making bottles all the time. I went there on a brewery tour last March, and I asked when they're putting them in cans, and they're like, we have no plans to put them in cans. So they're still doing things in bottles, and they don't market really heavily either, so you almost have to look for their beer a little bit more, but that kind of makes it a little more interesting. So really like Penn Brewery. I'd be interested to see what they'll be doing in the future, but these are two really nice beers, especially the Kaiser Pils. That's my favorite of these two. And I'll also be comparing the Oktoberfest and the Marzen, or the Märzen, which comes out in March, which is a little more darker of an Oktoberfest style beer compared to their Oktoberfest, which is a fest beer. So I'll have a review of that, kind of like this, where I'm showing the two beers and comparing their color and aroma and taste as well. Although for those, the Märzen comes out in March and the Oktoberfest comes out in August, obviously. So anyway, that's Penn Brewery. Thanks for watching PA Lagers, Brews, and Reviews. And check out over 200 reviews at my Untapped profile at RM Homa. That's a nice Pils.